Blaine Byron plays forward for the Ontario Reign and has a new contract now, rejoining the team. Congratulations, Blaine. We're happy to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Excited to be back for another year.
Absolutely, and that news coming down. Well, who knows when we'll put this interview out, but for our purposes today, how excited were you to get that done? I imagine, at the end of the season, you're always kind of tenuous about where you're going to be playing next year. But now, no matter what, with all the uncertainties going on in the world, you at least know the jersey you're going to be wearing next season.
Yeah, I think definitely this year more than ever, just with the uncertainty of knowing when we'll start and kind of how everything will play out. It was kind of nice to get that deal done now early and not have to worry about it and can just worry about training and focusing on my game and getting ready for next year.
What was the process like for you of signing this deal? Like the season ends in March, early March is the last game we played, doesn't officially end until May. What was the timeline for you from the last game to signing that deal?
I guess it would be a couple months there now. It kind of would have just been a slow process over the course of the start. I think just with everything playing out, and then once things started clearing out and the NHL kind of figured out their plan and stuff and had some small talks there, just knowing they let me know that they want me back kind of thing. And then conversation kind of grew over time there, more around July 4th and stuff. And just a couple of weeks before then, we were able to get the deal done. So happy to be back and excited to get things going whenever it does officially start.
You join the team halfway through the season. You get traded from Springfield. You come into Ontario. What'd you know about Ontario, about the Reign when you got traded? Anything at all?
No, not too much at all. Just the way the AHL works, when you're in the East or the West, you don't really hear about the other teams or know much about the teams. And so I was out in the East, and so it kind of was a full whirlwind there the day of the trade, and just packing all my stuff up to move across the country pretty well. And so I didn't know too much or really anyone on the team at all. So it was first time getting traded too. So it was a bit of a whirlwind experience.
Trades can go so many different ways. Like you see the stories of they go super well, a guy fits in, they go terribly. And were you surprised at how seamlessly you fit into the Reign lineup and, how well you seemed to play just right off the bat when you put on that Reign jersey?
Yeah, I think so. I think I found some instant chemistry with guys right off the way with Jaddy and Mikey Yzermont there at the start, and then also with Matt Luff there. And I think, when you can find chemistry with guys, and it definitely makes the transition easier. And just I thought I did a good job, earn the coach's trust and stuff. And I think it was a really good trade for me and personally. And I was definitely happy with it.
You have a lot of success when you join the team, like immediately. And, Zach and I were talking about it before we started, and you, I think, were the top goal scorer from the time you came on, or the top point getter from the time you came on until the season came to an end. What gelled for you? What meshed? What made you play so well?
I think just a bit of opportunity, and then also just find, like I said before, just find that chemistry with guys and just kind of that fresh start mentality too as well. I knew coming from the trade, I didn't know much about them or they knew much about me. So I just tried to look at it as a fresh opportunity for me to show who I am and kind of identify a player I was, and kind of took the opportunity and tried to run with it, really.
Not that your numbers weren't good in Springfield, but you definitely saw an uptick when you went from Springfield to Ontario. What was the biggest reasoning for that? Was it, style of play? Was it just a bigger opportunity, something different?
Yeah, I think style of play, and then just opportunity-wise, I was in Springfield for a couple of years there, and, you just kind of get set or maybe lost in the shuffle at times and over the years, and had some injuries. And then so came in there, totally fresh start, and just try to, have them learn who I was as a player and take it day by day.
Well, I got to stop this riveting hockey conversation because I just realized I got to apologize to our listeners, Zach, that we skipped right over our "Would you rather" question.
Yeah, we missed our icebreaker.
I'm sorry, you were supposed to insert yourself. Yeah, this is probably the first interview that we haven't right off the bat started with the "Would you rather."
I hope you guys forgot. I'd seen some of the interviews and
Oh,
totally forgot. No, if the president of the AHL gets one, then you're gonna get one. We were trying to book a guest that was like a higher level hockey executive, an old school guy, and I said to Zach, I was like, I'm not asking one. Like that one, I wouldn't have asked one for it. And Zach was like, you're gonna ask one. You ask it.
I would have asked it.
I'm not asking it.
It doesn't matter because he ghosted us. But
he did.
If he came on, I would have asked the question.
All right, what do you got for us today, Zach?
All right, so here's the would you rather. You guys can both answer this. For the next year, you either have to swear at least once in every single conversation you have, whether it's your mom, your grandma, your teammates, your bosses, your coaches, whoever, or you can't cut or style your hair for an entire year. So you can wash it in the shower, but however it sits after that, or however it sits when you wake up, you have to go with that hair every single day for a year.
You want to take it first, or you want me?
You start us off, Blaine.
You want to say what the first one was again? First,
you have to. Every conversation you have, regardless of who it's with, you have to swear at least once.
Well, what is a swear? So, like,
I'm not going to rattle them off here, Cam.
Okay, but I'm saying
friendly pod.
Like I can say, it is a friendly pod. Like, are we calling a swear thing?
You don't have to drop an F-bomb, but
right.
It doesn't have to be that level. It could be, a little bit worse than that. I think we're talking about some words that you can. Sometimes they get bleeped on TV, sometimes they don't. Those are acceptable.
What about I don't think we need to bleep this. Damn.
No, damn does not count.
Okay.
Damn does not count. It's got to be a little bit harder than that.
Okay, one more, and then I'll let Blaine answer. Can I buzz my hair the day before this?
You can buzz your hair day 1, but then you've got 365 days of not being able to touch your hair. So the first couple of months, you'd be fine. I still think by month 10, we'd all be having some issues.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd go with the swear word, one sentence or in one conversation. My parents and bosses, the boss coach usually swears enough, and my mom's heard me swear, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. Subtly throw it in.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know. That's a good one, Zach. I guess I'd do the hair. Like, I don't think I could swear in every conversation. It's a pet peeve of mine when people unnecessarily like it for you. I'd probably pick the swearing. Like, you're in the locker room, you can write it off. But like, I can't stand it when I'm at work and someone's like unnecessarily swearing just to swear. It irritates me. And like, you're talking about like if you have like a job interview, you're not getting that. But I don't think I'd get it with the hair either. That's tough. Thing, like, I think I'd shave my head and just deal with it. I've never shaved my head before. My barber went out of business. Actually, recurring story, Blaine on podcast. I've had barber troubles with this guy and tried to go to him again, and he's not. So now I guess that would solve that problem. So yeah, I think I'd do the hair. What would you do?
I would do the swear, and I would try to work it in early, like, how the something are you? Something like start off. I feel like I can get away with most conversations that way. And I too hate when people just swear to do it. But like I style my hair pretty much every day. And I actually went back and I looked at the Rain Gala photos to see, Blaine, if you also styled your hair. So I was like, oh, this wouldn't be a good question for some people, but I thought it would be for you. Like, I just couldn't go into work especially after, a few months without a cut, with my hair not styled. Like, I think I'd look less professional than I would be if I dropped one swear into a conversation.
Yeah, I like to keep it pretty clean cut.
Blaine styles his hair. That's a full hair. It's Patrick Sharp hair.
Yeah.
COVID hair there was going for a while, and just have to either wear a hat or do something. Gets pretty thick and long, so if I can't wear a hat.
That's actually another, if a player were to go the hair route, you could wear a hat. I mean, not all the time, but
right?
You could wear a hat. Like, I couldn't wear a hat to the office, but you could wear a hat to the rink.
Yeah, except when you're wearing suits, but
that's true.
When you're going, but still.
A lot of guys wear like the wool
the toque.
Yeah. Like in the middle of summer with the suit.
If there was winter and more like snow in California, you could get away with the toque and stuff, but don't even have those months to hide it.
Well, that was a good question, Zach. I like that one. Let's get back to some other stuff. Blaine, you played 4 years at the University of Maine. So was it pretty tough when you got your rejection letter from the University of New Hampshire?
Didn't even apply there, so.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what we always say? We always say people that went to Maine and people that went to UNH have one thing in common. They both got into Maine.
I don't know.
That's what we all say.
If you got into Maine, you probably would have went then.
I would not have gone up to Orono, the middle of nowhere, which has actually one of the best college hockey rinks in the NCAA. So I'll give you that. And for those of you who don't know, Alphond Arena. What's that?
Jealousy doesn't look good on you, that's for sure.
It's an excellent rink. You know, it's not a place I'd want to go. It's in the middle of nowhere.
That's what I loved about it. It's the best.
I'm not a big fan. But it is a great rink. What was it like playing at that? And kind of explain that rink for people who don't know college hockey.
Yeah, so for people that don't know, I think it seats like 65 to 700 in there, and it's just they have a student section that kind of sits right over the second level. It kind of sits right over the top of the opposing goaltender, so it kind of makes it a nightmare, and it almost feel like the way the stands are angled, it kind of feels like the fans are almost on top of you. And so I know when there's the big rivalry games or pretty well any game at home, like it was fun to play. I know if you looked when I was there, we didn't have as much success as what I think we would have liked, but our home record compared to our away record, like, was crazy how much difference it was. And it just had to say for the fan wise, how much impact they had on us and how fun it was to play there. I just know, like, when guys would score a goal, saw some of the best celebrations because guys would be so excited and almost like black out and didn't know what it was doing. So it was hilarious after when you watch guys. So enjoyed it and loved every minute of it there and would do it all over again.
So Zach, if you'll humor me for a second, I got like one, maybe two college hockey.
I'll let you guys battle over, the 8 versus 9 seed in Hockey East, UNH, Maine, as long as you want.
UNH was a powerhouse for a long time. And if it wasn't for that Walsh character breaking all the recruitment rules, then UNH wins that national championship in '99. But that's a whole other thing.
I grew up, Maine. Maine was a powerhouse when I was growing up.
Maine was not a powerhouse. They had Paul Correa. They were good for a few years.
I think it was Ben Bishop was in goal. They played in Albany and the NCAA tournament.
Ty Conklin.
They were
outdoor man. And
Maine was a good team. I remember them being a good program when I was younger. That's all I remember.
Taking nothing away, college hockey talk for a second, because you started there in 13-14. Were you recruited by Tim Whitehead or by? Okay, so this is interesting because you played, like, looking at the elite prospects pretty much every game every season. Maybe you missed a few your freshman year, but that's not a big deal. Lots of times, so you're recruited by Tim Whitehead. He leaves the year you come in. Red Gendron's then the coach. You don't see that all the time where a guy recruited by the old guy gets as much playing time as you did and is a staple in the lineup. How was that transition? What was it like going there saying, like, I wasn't recruited by this guy and now there's this new guy and who knows how this could go?
Yeah, it was definitely scary going in at first, especially it's always different adjustment coming in as a freshman. And then especially when it's a coach that doesn't really know too much about you and wasn't recruited by him too. So it was definitely some scary going in, but he was great to me my 4 years. He liked my game and he put me in good opportunities to succeed and worked with me through the years. And so it was definitely fortunate for how it worked out, because I've seen other aspects of guys where they were recruited by different or heard different stories and, it doesn't go as well. And so I was fortunate to be able to kind of gain their trust and respect and play good minutes over my 4 years there.
And for those at home, that is a big surprise. I remember when Nate Lehman took over for Tim Army in Providence, 4 guys immediately transferred. And then the same thing in Lowell when Blaze McDonald left and Norm Bazin came in, like nobody was played. And I think some similar thing happened. Whoever's coaching in Amherst, like similar stuff. So that is a surprise, and that's probably a testament to you. So
we talked about it last year with Craig Wizymirski too. And
it didn't work out well for him. He was actually one of the Lehman guys. He was recruited by Army, and then Lehman came in and said, "See you later."
Yeah, my freshman class, we had started with 8 when we came in, and then we graduated with 3 of us. So I think that goes to show a bit too. We had some guys leave for other reasons, but a couple guys that it didn't work out for too as well.
Well, we don't need to do too much UNH stuff because I think
I got a good main segue.
Okay.
Good main segue. So you played with Ben Hutton, University of Maine, and from my detailed research before this podcast, you played with him in junior A in Canada and then in Maine, and then fast forward a couple of years, and now you're both members of the Kings organization. Is he a guy you have a good relationship with, and did you talk with him at all, like when you first came out here?
Yeah, he was one of the first guys I texted there just to kind of get, because he was probably the only guy I knew in the system, just to get a bit of information about the team and guys that he knew that had been up and down and just how the group was. And so it's kind of been funny how it's worked out that we started playing together in juniors, and then it's almost been like I've followed him coincidentally in ways, and then to end up out in LA together too was cool. So I got to hang out with him a couple times, and he doesn't live far from me here in Ottawa, so I'll see him a couple times, usually during the summer too as well.
2.5 years in Springfield after you finish in Maine. So you go to the middle of nowhere in Maine to the middle of nowhere in Massachusetts. Finally, you're in some semblance of a civilization. To bring us through Springfield, playing for the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, definitely. My first year was, it's always adjustment your first year pro, and it didn't help. I got injured and hurt my knee, and then kept playing for a bit, and then ended up realizing that I needed knee surgery. So that was a tough year. I didn't really get the full experience of going through the ups and downs of pro. So I think I played like 30-some games or 40-some games that year. And then I had to rehab all summer, rest of the year. That was a long recovery. And then the next season came in. I got a pretty good opportunity, started playing well, and then took my own teammate's slap shot off my tibia, broke my tibia my second year, missed about half the season that year, and then had a not bad year. Definitely you can see the difference from that first year to second year pro. You see it with guys like everywhere. It's that first year pro is definitely hard and a bit of adjustments, especially coming from college hockey where you work used to having your practice all week, just 2 games a week, and your schedule, and it's a bit lighter. And then my third season came in, and it was a good start. We had not bad team there, and then we had a lot of bodies, and then I think it just turned into a bit of a numbers game, and I was one of the guys that got dealt and came to Ontario, and was the good change for me and the best thing for me this past year.
So when I was reading, about you, you had a big senior year at Maine, and from what I read, you had offers to sign NHL contracts coming out of college, decided to go the AHL route with Springfield. What was that process like of making that decision?
It was definitely different. I had to wait till I think the date was August 15th till I became a free agent from being drafted with Pittsburgh. So it was a long summer, and then there's a different couple opportunities that were not really. I wanted to make sure I got a good playing opportunity when I went in, because that's what the biggest thing is opportunity and stuff. And I thought there in Springfield, it gave me the best opportunity to kind of step in and play a big role right from the start compared to other situations that might not have worked out. I mean, it was obviously, looking back on it, might do differently, but I mean, you can't really, it's got me where I am today. So it was definitely stressful during those times, and especially when I kind of blew up my knee that first year and only played half the season. It's not too fortunate or easy on the mind when you're going through it all, but It's definitely when you're stressful decision to make that big of a decision early on in your career. But looking back on it, like I said, it would have got me where I am today and gone through those ups and downs and learned a lot about myself and my hockey game. So I'm still fortunate for how things have worked out.
I want to ask you about the draft, but before I do, I want one more Springfield question. It's a pretty simple question. Do you like the Thunderbirds logo?
I don't know. It didn't mind. It was fine with me.
That's a no. That's a no.
I don't know.
Okay, there's a reason I asked. So the former Rain graphics guy, graphic designer, name's Matt. He is in Vegas now with the Golden Knights. He's very talented, very, very talented. The best graphic designer I've ever worked with, bar none. But one time we were talking about the Springfield logo, and I told him, I was like, I don't like the logo. I was like, I don't like it. I think it looks like a cartoon. It looks like a bird. I don't like. And he made it, and I didn't know. And so, and you know what? I doubled down, and I'm a very honest guy. I said, well, I don't like it. I just don't like it. Like I simply don't. Whatever. He does great work. I think it's okay to say that. So I was just curious to see if you liked it. Now, interestingly enough, we talk about graphics guy Twitter a lot on here. He posted something a few weeks ago, and he like redid the Springfield logo, and it looked great. And I liked it. I don't like a lot on Twitter, but it looked great. So I think he'd be the first to, he'd probably change everything he ever did. That's how his graphics guys.
I'll have to check that, try and find it and check it out.
Yeah, we can. Maybe we'll give him a little plug and give him.
We can send that over. But
I've got almost 800 followers, so it should get some.
Not a big deal.
Yeah, it's a lot of them.
Yeah,
it's a lot of them. So, all right, let's talk about the draft. You get drafted in the 6th round by Pittsburgh. When that happens, are you saying to yourself, like, I'm wearing a Penguins jersey at some time, like I'm going to be playing in Wilkes-Barre and then going up there, maybe like, obviously it never materializes. You go a totally different route, but take yourself back to that draft. I think 2013. What were your feelings at that time, and how did they change over time?
Yeah, I think when it first happens, you're just so excited to kind of be drafted in that moment with I remember I had a bunch of family over and just that kind of surreal moment of, you didn't know if it was going to happen or what, and you're not trying to get too high or too low. And then for it to happen and then to be drafted by Pittsburgh too, at the time with Sidney Crosby, Malkin, so such high pedigree. It was definitely a cool experience for me at such a young age. And I don't think you ever fully are like, I'm wearing this jersey next year. This is that. You kind of just like, I knew I was going to Maine, and I knew I was like a smaller guy, that needed the time in college to develop and stuff. So I kind of, you always, I think when you're drafted, you're still planning on that route and going that route, and over time things change. But I think for the most part, you try to just, for me, was to develop into player and grow at college, and that's why I went that college route, because I was a smaller guy and needed that time to develop over the years. So I don't think you think too much about it, but it's definitely a nice, I guess, feather in your cap throughout your career. I don't think at the end of the day it means too much. As you can see over the years, guys can get drafted in 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round, and they don't play. It doesn't really matter. It's what you do kind of after, but it's definitely a cool experience, and it was fun to be able to enjoy it with my family and friends that were here for that day. And definitely a day I'll never forget.
Cam and I love asking about the draft process. When you went into the draft, did you have a good feeling like Pittsburgh was going to take you? Did they give you that inclination, or was it a bit of a surprise when you're like, oh, it's Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I had really no idea. I had talked to a couple teams leading up and did a couple interviews, but I really didn't know what was going to happen or who was going to take me at any point. Was just kind of hoping that I did get drafted. I knew I was a later round pick, and so I know I had a couple more interviews with them, but it wouldn't be anything that I was like, oh, I think they might take me at all.
Did they communicate a lot with you in the 2 years after you were drafted? Did they, you always hear about how much they keep an eye on the first round guys that are in college. Maybe they want them to move to major junior, which they seem to do with every UNH kid that gets picked in the first round. They take them right out of UNH, or they say, we want you to come out of college, or we want you to stay there. How much are they talking to you through that process of, hey, you staying here, you're doing well, whatever?
Yeah, no, they were definitely talked to them a bunch there. They would come out to see my games, and I know they had other scouts there that wouldn't even let me know that they're at games. I think they're pretty good at keeping in touch with their player development and stuff, and they're happy with where I was at, and they didn't want me to, like you said, where guys move or change. The player development at the time was Bill Guerin, and he had known the coach Red Gendron. He had won a cup with him in New Jersey, so he was happy with the situation I was in and thought I was in good hands there, so they weren't too worried about that and stuff.
How hands-on are they allowed to be with you when you're in college? Like the NCAA rule book has to be 10,000 pages of like things you can't do. Like how much contact are they even allowed to have?
I think they're allowed to have as much contact. I'm not for sure, but I know they're not allowed to like pay for anything or give you any money kind of thing and that situation. But I think for contact wise, they're allowed to come watch you and talk to you as much and give you advice. But don't quote me on that, or don't know for sure.
We won't talk about those dinners that Bill Guerin was buying for you on the road.
Let's finish off with some Ontario stuff. I'm sure the first thing you did, smoke detector or something. I'm sure the first thing you did was look up Ontario, California, and be like, hey, that's like an hour from LA from the beach. And then maybe you find out after that you're probably living in South Bay and you're going to be living on the beach and practicing there.
It was Hutton who had told me, because he, like we said earlier, he was the first one I had kind of really talked to or knew in the organization. He was the one who told me that all the guys live in like the same area as them and right in LA. So that was when I was excited at first when I first heard, definitely move out California area, enjoy some nice weather compared to Mass area, where I think the week before I got traded, we had gotten like 18 inches of snow and just cold and not fun there. So that was, and then to hear that
Springfield.
Yeah, to hear that Ben was going to be living in LA was pretty exciting news, and definitely happy and excited to, I've never really been out on the West Coast before, so to get that experience was really fun and cool, and happy to get back there and enjoy it again.
The apartment costs a little more than it does probably in Springfield.
Yeah, it's a little more over double than what I was paying in Springfield. But
I will say, like, a lot of people love Springfield. Like, a lot of people love playing there. I have heard. I know, I remember this older player I talked to. It was like one of his favorite stops out of all his AHL plays. So maybe they're doing something. You ever go to the Basketball Hall of Fame? That is the worst one out of the four.
One day, I think you gotta. There's not too much to do in the town, so that's the majority. I think everyone that comes through there makes at least one stop throughout their career at that place. So it was fun and cool to experience and just see all the names. It's always surprising when you think about it that that's where the Hall of Fame is, and guys like LeBron James and stuff go there for their induction.
Where basketball was invented.
Yeah.
They had when I was in college, our conference tournament was held at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield. So we got to go there for a few days, checked out the Hall of Fame. It's cool.
Lucky you.
Yeah. Nothing like a expenses paid trip to Springfield.
I don't mean to keep going back to Western Massachusetts out of all things. You go to Six Flags. It's Six Flags and the Basketball Hall of Fame.
The Six Flags there is great, actually.
That was the only reason we went. I would go out there. I'm from Boston originally, and so we'd go out there for Six Flags. Never went to the Basketball Hall of Fame, and then we'd have in high school, our annual cross-country state ski race was in like Lenox, which is past Springfield. But
they always have the Big E, it's like a festival right at the start of the season. Would always go to too. It was pretty fun. Just like
what were your thoughts? I just want to get us back onto Ontario before we wrap up, because we spend more time in those, which is fine. We jump around a lot. here. What were your thoughts about Toyota Arena coming in? I mean, it is, I'll be the first one to say I was surprised when I came out here. I knew the team was successful with the fanhood and with the notoriety in the Inland Empire, but I didn't know how successful the team was. Zach and I came from small market. You came from a smaller market in Springfield, and then all of a sudden you come to Ontario and there's 8,500 people at just about every game.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest surprises too. My initial thought was moving out to California. I didn't never been out there before and stuff, and I didn't know how hockey was taken. And then I was like, oh, we can't get too many fans. I was just sort of it'd probably be comparable to what we get in Springfield. Friday, Saturdays are good, but midweek games are so. And then to see the rink full and 8,500 people, like you said, just all excited and great season ticket holders, it was really cool, and it makes it, easier for us to get up and play games. When you have that many fans and those people are so passionate, it makes it exciting, and you want to do well for them.
While the season was cut short, the Reign were making a push. You guys are extremely successful January, February, right in the thick of the playoff hunt. Does it feel, as you go into next year, maybe there's a little bit of unfinished business with what you'd expect to be, a lot of guys who'd be back for another year with the Reign?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, the way, I wasn't there through the start of the season, but I think the way guys were progressing there at the end of the season, the way we were building, I think majority of the team will be back again next year. I think that's a good stepping stone for us. A lot of young guys in the system, and they'll be another year older and take that next step forward. And I think it'll really help us and be a good, successful team, and hopefully have a good long run next season.
I'll give you one more before we let you go. Just, we asked Brett Sutter this as well, but does it add a level of uncertainty, not knowing who your head coach is going to be next year? It must be nice to know that Brett is going to be back, so you have the leadership of the team, but you still don't know who's going to be the bench boss.
Yeah, I wouldn't say. I think that's part of the business, the way things run. It's you get as I get older in the pro career, you learn guys come and go, coaches come and go, and it's kind of what you do. You're a team still. You're going to have the guy that comes in and has his way, and I'm confident that they're going to pick the right guy or be a guy that's going to help us be successful and kind of lead us. And it's obviously you'd like to know. It's just human nature that you always want to know and stuff, but I don't think it's too stressful at this time, especially with, they announced the season starting December, but you never know how things can work out going forward here during this time. So I don't think you can stress too much or worry too much about that right now.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it is December. Hopefully we see you playing then. And when you do get back onto the ice, hopefully a full season for you in Ontario with, a lot of success to you and your teammates. Blaine, thanks a lot for joining us.
No, thank you. Appreciate it, guys. It was lots of fun.